Hi, I'm Trinity, and this is TV with Trinity. Welcome or welcome back. We have officially made it to the end of the year, so I thought I would do a TV and movie wrapped. These are my favorite watches of 2025. Okay, so I'm gonna start with movies first because I have, I think, two less movies than I do TV shows, but I still love them all the same. I'm not ranking them in any order. These are just some of my favorites of the year. Starting out with My Fault London, I love this movie so much. I think I watched it like every day for 3 weeks straight. I was either watching the movie in full or I was going and watching my favorite clips. I was absolutely obsessed with this. I love Nick and Noah. This also introduced me into the Coco Mia franchise, and I've made a bunch of TikToks and videos on my channel about the movies in general. So it's my favorite thing, and I cannot wait to see what they do with Your Fault and Our Fault London. Next, I have One of the Days. This was Kiki Palmer and SZA's movie that came out, kind of like a buddy comedy. I really love this, especially because I watched it during the fires in LA, so everything was just really hectic. But being able to go in this movie and just sit and laugh, and like the theater was amazing. It was just one of my favorites of the year, and like I got my dad to watch it. It's just so good. Next, I have How to Train Your Dragon. Obviously, the cartoon came out when I was a child, and I remember watching it, but it wasn't like one of my favorites, so it wasn't in continuous rotation, and that might be why I personally really enjoyed the live action adaptation compared to some other adaptations that have come out recently. But I just had such a good time in the theater watching this, and I feel like the cast did such a good job, and they were just so adorable and cute, and I feel like they did the perfect job with it. Next, I have Sinners. Sinners was one of those movies that like reminds me why I love movies so much. It was just absolutely amazing seeing it in a theater full of people and like hearing people gasp and scream at the screen. I absolutely loved the entire cast. Deserves every award out there in my opinion. They all did so amazing, and the storytelling and the way they worked in things on like Spotify for the background. I loved everything they did with this movie, and I will watch it, and it will be one of my favorites forever probably. In that same vein of a movie that reminded me why I love movies so much, I have Superman. I have not seen any of the other Superman adaptations, so I can't speak to those, but I really love this one. I thought David Cornsweet was a perfect choice for Superman. His and Rachel Brosnahan's chemistry was out of this world. Plus, I feel like if I would have watched this as a kid, Superman would have been my favorite superhero, and I feel like that's like the tell of a good superhero movie is if it makes you want them to be your favorite. Moving on, I have One Battle After Another. I personally really love Leonardo DiCaprio, so any of his movies I'm going to go see. And I believe this was the first Paul Thomas Anderson movie that I had ever seen, so his style I really enjoyed watching for the first time. But I also just really loved the storytelling, them being revolutionaries and all of those things, especially in the time that we were in. I feel like it was really telling, and I feel like they just did such a great job with it. And Chase Infinity, this being her first role, I feel like she did absolutely amazing in. And my second to last movie, I'm sure, is not a surprise if you watched last year's favorites and most anticipated of 2025 videos of mine, and that is Wicked for Good. I absolutely loved the first one. I think I saw it at least 4 times in theaters. I went to see it with my family on Thanksgiving, and I absolutely loved it. The way they created this world, like all of the visuals, are absolutely amazing. And then For Good had me tearing up in the theater. It was just everything I wanted it to be. And my last movie plus my most recent watch is Zootopia 2. I think this was also on my most anticipated of 2025 list, but I absolutely loved it. I love Nick and Judy Hopps. They are some of my favorite animated characters. I love the first one and all of the references that they make to other movies like Speed, but I really enjoyed the second one. I feel like it lived up to the first one perfectly. I love the new song that they did called Zoo with Shakira, and even though I did guess the bad guy within like 2 seconds of meeting him, I still loved the way that they revealed it. So it was just such a fun watch. So those were all of my favorite movies of 2025. Now moving into my favorite TV shows of 2025, starting with The Pitt. If you're on my TikTok, again, you know how much I love this show. It was so good. This is following an ER staff through their shift. So it's 15 hours. Each episode is an hour in their shift. And this show was absolutely everything. Once I started, I did not want to stop watching. I've already done multiple rewatches of it. I cannot wait for season 2. And I feel like this was a show I didn't know I needed, but it was absolutely everything to me. Moving on to my second show, which was influenced through The Pitt. Noah Wyle is the star of The Pitt. He also starred in ER. And because I love The Pitt so much, I wanted to see where Noah Wyle started. So I started ER. I want to say in like July, and I'm on season 12 right now, so I've watched about 12 seasons of television in 4 or 5 months. But ER, also amazing. Another show that focuses on an ER staff. This one you get to see more of the day to day. Obviously, Noah Wyle is the star of The Pit, also starred in ER. And I just loved seeing where he got to start, and his character Carter is my absolute favorite, especially because in the beginning he is kind of your into the ER. Everybody else has been working there for a handful of years, and he is starting as a medical student, and I just love this show so much. George Clooney and Carol's relationship and all of their jaw-dropping moments are everything to me. But also, I was obviously obsessed with the show, so I was watching on a plane one day, and this was the episode where Mark dies. If you've seen it, you know how heart-wrenching it is, and I was sobbing on the plane. It was absolutely terrible, but I still love the show with all of my heart. It is probably going to continue to be one of my favorites for all time. Moving on from our medical dramas, I have Paradise starring Sterling K. Brown. I absolutely loved this show. I feel like they really weave together the mystery perfectly, and I will say I did guess that they were in some kind of underground town in the first episode when he was running. I was like, that felt very Truman Show. But I just love the way they did it, and I can't wait to unfold more of the mystery in season 2. Next, I have Forever. This is a series on Netflix and is an adaptation slash retelling of Judy Blume's novel, also named Forever. It's about Justin and Keisha. They are childhood friends that reconnect in high school and start a relationship, and it's just all about the ups and downs of your first love and whether or not it could last forever. And I just thought they did such a good job with this. I feel like they really captured that first crush, first love relationship so well. I am really sad that they broke up at the end, but they are getting a season 2, so hopefully they will reconnect during or after college. I can't wait to see what they do with it, but this was just such a sweet show. Next, I have Overcompensating, and this was a show that kind of surprised me. I remember seeing the trailer for it and being like, okay, I might watch it, I might not. I'll see what other people are saying about it. Ended up watching it, and it was just absolutely hilarious. I love the way they tell Benny's story, and being able to see Benny the drama on TikTok now to Overcompensating is just absolutely hilarious. So I cannot wait to see what they do with the rest of the story. Moving on to another Amazon Prime show that I really loved this year, and that was Motorheads. This is about 2 kids that move back to their mom's hometown, and this town is really into drag racing. So the son gets into it, the daughter fixes up his car, and I just really love this. I love the high school aspect, but I feel like they did a really good job of incorporating the parent storylines, which I feel like it's really hard to do in a teen drama. I also was really interested in the mystery of whether or not their father was alive. Unfortunately, they did not get a season 2, which I'm so sad about, but I still feel like they did a really good job with their first season. Also, I can't talk about favorites without talking about Heated Rivalry. This is one of my most recent watches that has become my favorites. I'm absolutely obsessed. I remember seeing promo pictures on Twitter before it was coming out, and I was like, okay, why am I seeing this? What is this? I hadn't seen it anywhere else. So I finally looked it up after seeing it for a couple days, and I remember seeing rival hockey players fall in love or start a relationship, secret relationship. I can't remember exactly what it said at this very moment, but I saw that and I was like, oh, I have to watch it immediately. Then I looked up that it was only going to be in Canada because it's a Crave original. It got so sad. And then they finally announced a week before it came out that it was also going to be on HBO Max in the US. I was so excited, and I ate it up. Everything about the show was absolutely amazing. The transition of their relationship from being secret to them coming out to Shane's parents, but also their only connection being through lust versus at the end of the show they actually are able to open up to each other and comfort each other. I just love it so much. I also really love Scott and Kip. I wish we could have gotten a little bit more of them since they had a whole episode dedicated to them. I wish we would have gotten more of them towards the end, but I did love their coming out moment as well. And I am one of my things. I have not read the books, but it is on my to do for 2026 because I'm absolutely obsessed, and I just cannot wait to see where the rest of the story goes. I already know they got a season 2, so I can't wait to see that eventually either. Next, I have The Runarounds. This is in the same universe as Outer Banks, mainly just because the band performed in one of those episodes, but this is about a band. This group of guys just graduated high school, and so they're trying to make it as a band before some of them go off to college, and I just feel like they did such a good job of this. These songs were so amazing. I was listening to them all the time. They were some of my Spotify Wrapped top 5, and I just loved it so much. And the way that they ended the first season could be a perfect wrapping everything up in a bow, but I would also really love if they got a second season because I would love to continue watching these characters and hearing the music through the show, even though I will be following the band whether or not they get a second season. My last favorite scripted show of 2025 was Running Point on Netflix. This is about reformed party girl turned businesswoman Isla. She is taking over the family business, and that happens to be managing a basketball team. They were one of the best. They're having a bad season, and she's trying to turn it around while also trying to prove herself and to her brothers. I just think the show is so hilarious. I love Kate Hudson in this role, but I also love Brenda Song in this role. She is one of my favorites, obviously from childhood, so getting to see her in this role was the cherry on top. Okay, that was my last scripted show, but I have three docu/reality things that I also want to talk about. Last year, I talked about getting back into Dancing with the Stars after taking a break from having watched it when I was a kid. I loved this season as much as I loved last season. I thought they did such an amazing job with it. I will say Andy did go a little too far, but I understand why because everybody loved him. My personal favorite was Jordan. Her freestyle was absolutely amazing, although I do understand why Robert won. His story and dancing was great throughout the season as well. Also, seeing Tom Bergeron back in the ballroom like almost made me cry. It was so sweet. My second reality favorite of the year was Love Island, which was shocking to me. I had not watched any Love Island before, but one of my friends asked me if I was watching it, said that I should, so I started watching it for her and became absolutely obsessed, so much so that when my sister sees something about Love Island, she still sends it to me. I was personally a Nick and Andrea supporter, and their friends to lovers storyline was everything to me. And based on the way things have gone, maybe they should have won. Who knows? And my last non-scripted pick was Seen and Heard on HBO Max. This was a two-part documentary about the evolution of Black representation in television. I loved it. It went from Amos and Andy to A Different World to Girlfriends to Insecure, all the Black shows that I grew up loving. I loved getting to learn more about them, and then also just some different little interesting facts about the networks that created them and why they may or may not have been canceled. I just love learning about film and television so much, and this was one of those things that continued my education, and I just absolutely loved watching it. Those are all of my favorite watches of 2025. Let me know if we have any overlapping ones or any that I might not have heard of that I should potentially watch in 2026. If you want to follow me on any of my other socials, they'll be linked in the description as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye!